Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm Alex Bennett, and this is the Ramble. It rolls on till the cock crows at midnight. Does the cock crow at midnight? No, the cock does not crow at midnight. My cock doesn't crow at midnight. It hardly ever crows at all anymore. But that's sage. Okay. Anyway. So here we are, and I'm stuck with 25 minutes here. I just may go to the phones. What the hell? I don't know if anybody will call me this early, but what happens is that I have to kill 25 minutes, and usually I kill it with an interview, but I've run out of all my interviews for this week. And then tomorrow night, Girlfriend's maybe going to be on, but she probably won't. So what's going to happen then? Anyway, so I don't, I have this whole thing about I don't know what to talk about and how long to talk about it. And lately I've had this tiredness, which coffee doesn't seem to solve. Okay. And then again, I talk to everybody lately, and they're all feeling tired. And I go, why are you so tired? And I figure it's the pollen. I figure that it's allergies because my eyes are usually tearing. Today I wasn't as tired as I usually am, but I wasn't tearing as much. Okay, so who knows? Either that or I'm dying of some horrible disease. Because I'm always figuring that's the case. It's also, what happens with me lately is I make no bones about this. I don't try to hide the fact that I am 79 years old. And today I had somebody come over to my house who said, "How old are you?" He says, "Maybe I'm older than you are." And I said, "How old are you?" And he said, 73. And I said, "You're a kid." He says, "Gee, how come you look so good?" I said, "Are you kidding me? If this is looking good, I mean, I used to be that I could win over women, and now I scare little children." Okay. So anyway, you look in the mirror. What happens is when you're younger, you look in the mirror and you see this child. And as you grow up, you keep seeing the same child in the mirror. And at some point in your life, and I can't tell you when it happens, you look in the mirror one day and say, what the fuck happened to me? Right? Like, I often wonder, do you ever see Jackie Coogan? You know who I'm talking about when I talk about Jackie Coogan? Let me apprise you of Jackie Coogan. Jackie Coogan was, in silent films, considered to be the cutest little boy alive. All right? He did a movie with Charlie Chaplin called The Kid, and it was a terrific film and one of Charlie Chaplin's greatest films. And he played the kid in Charlie Chaplin's The Kid. And he was adorable. And when the police were taking him away from Charlie, who was his guardian, and when they were looking out for him, he's crying and going, "Daddy, Daddy, come please," and your heart goes out to this little kid who is the cutest little kid you've ever seen in your life. Go 30 years into the future, maybe 40, okay? Where does Jackie Coogan show up? I'll tell you, you've seen him, okay? And you go, well, where have I seen him before? Do you remember the Addams Family? You remember Cousin It? Wasn't it? No, he didn't play It. He played, what was the name of the character? Hold on a second. I'm going to go look this up. I can't stand myself now. I thought he was Cousin It, but he really wasn't Cousin It. He was, let's see, Addams Family. Mm-hmm. Addams Family. Is it two D's with Addams? Let me see here. Mm-hmm. Addams Family. I'm really blowing this whole thing by not being able to remember who he was. Let's see here. Addams Family Reunion, Addams Family, the TV show. Where is it? There, it's not there. It's not there. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'll have it for you in a moment. He played. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Son of a bitch. Well, he's not here. This is ridiculous. He should be right here. That's got to be. That's not the right Addams Family, and yet it's the one with John Aston. Fuck it. IMDb is pissing me off tonight. Let's see here. Okay, I'll put in Jackie Coogan, because I've got to give you this reference, because if I don't have it, you don't understand what I'm saying about growing old. Jackie Coogan. Okay, there we go. Oh, come on, fuck you. Plugging movies on. There we go. All right, cute little kid, wonderful cute little kid. Flying High, heckling actor, 1977. Come on, Addams Family. There we go. He played, okay, Uncle Fester. All right. Now you remember Uncle Fester? Yeah. That was the cutest, at one time, the cutest boy in the world, turned into one of the ugliest men you've ever seen. And you say to yourself, and I often used to say, what day did Jackie Coogan look in the mirror and go, what the fuck happened to me? And you know, right now I'm looking at myself on camera and I go, what the fuck happened to me? Because, you know, I mean, I always considered myself kind of not handsome or even sexy, but I was at least passable, you know. And now I look at this and I go, you know, I've actually thought about not showing myself on this program. And the best way to do that would, of course, be to not do the video, right? But I haven't done that. So anyway, you wake up one day and you go, what the fuck happened to me? And I look in the mirror here, or the lens here, and I go, what the fuck ever happened? What the fuck happened to me? So anyway. So where was I going with that? With the what the fuck happened to me? Oh, so, you know, as you get older, you just suddenly realize, you know, then I get aches and pains and things like that, and you go, geez, you know, is this the end of life? And this is, you know, I've always been an atheist, and here's the reason why. There were several reasons why I am an atheist. Reason number one is that if there were a God and he created us, he would be the perfect architect. Would we all agree with that? God? He wouldn't make mistakes like in creating the human body, right? Think again. Here, I have a thing called a prostate. Every man has a prostate. And to you older men, you know what I'm talking about. To you younger men, hold on, it's going to happen to you, okay? In which the prostate is this donut-shaped thing, right? And it does, you know what it does? It gives the fluid that the sperm, which comes from the testicles, floats in. It's, or as some guys would call a pre-cum, okay? Anyway, it's a donut, okay? And now why is it a donut? Well, I can't figure out why it's a donut. I mean, you could invent a prostate that does that pre-cum fluid without having to be a donut. So what happens with this donut? Well, where's your urethra? That's the tube that your urine flows through. Well, it goes right through the middle of the prostate. Okay? Now, as you get older, the prostate gets enlarged and starts squeezing on the urethra. Now I've explained to you why old men go to the bathroom so often. And if I weren't on medicine right now, I could not go through this 2-hour program without going and taking a pee at least twice, okay? But since I'm on the medicine, I can go through the whole show pretty much. And sometimes I feel I have to go, but, you know. But if there was a God and he made the human body, would he have made such a blatant error? And if he had made a blatant error, at some time, wouldn't he say, well, you know something? I think I'll have to fix this. And somehow through evolution, would move the prostate out of the way and let the urethra just go through. Okay? But that's the one, that's the reason, the first time I said I'm an atheist is because I said if there was a God, that wouldn't happen. You can also go, if there was a God, why would there be so much suffering in the world? Religious people have an answer for that, and it's some kind of bullshit answer about, well, God isn't here to solve your problems, Well, then why do they have, why would God let little kids die of cancer? Well, that was all in God's plan. What, God's plan was to get even with us? No. So that was another reason I became an atheist. The other reason I became an atheist is because of this whole aging thing. That if there was a God, would he have not made things better as you got older, not worse? I mean, I have a great fear of death. I've mentioned this on any number of occasions on this program. I have a great fear of death, but, okay, having that great fear of death, having a great fear of death, the one thing that is kind of becoming easier is the concept of dying. And you know why? Because I got so many aches and pains and little things that are bothering me, and everything is starting to go. The feet are numb, and the prostate may have a little cancer in there, and my tooth here had to be pulled, so now I have to go get another implant. So I have a gaping hole in my mouth that only makes me eligible to be a Trump voter. And, all these little things start happening. I got a hemorrhoid the other day that I never had before. Oh, external one, too, the kind that are painful. I know it's more than you need to know, so let me not go that far. Okay? So it gets, I then have lack of a faith of a God. Now, people say to me, well, you don't believe in God, but what if you die and all of a sudden you go up to heaven and you find out there was one? And I said, well, if there's a God and he's as you report that God to be, he probably will forgive me. Right? I mean, if he's an all-forgiving God, he will forgive me for not believing in him. In fact, he might say to me, yeah, I know, Alex, yeah, I wouldn't believe in me either. There's the whole myth they put behind me is just bigger than anybody can believe, and the fact that you didn't doesn't matter. Come on in, we'll get to know each other, and I'll show you my mercy. All right? So that's what I'm counting on if I should get to that higher state, But somehow I have this feeling that when I die, I'm just going to be dead. So now what happens as I'm growing older is all these people I know are dying. I hear about this one, and I hear about that one, and I hear about, this person. Oh, did you hear so-and-so just died? And I go, oh my God, not another person. I mean, we had a person here on the Citizen panel, John Rockwell, die a couple of months ago. All right? Is that right? No. If there were a God, he'd still be here because he was a sweet, wonderful guy. Okay? So anyway, tonight I get the news again of somebody else that I knew well at one point, and then later on over the years, not much at all, who died. He died at 77, and you know him. You know him. He went by the name of Dr. John. We knew him personally as Mac Rebenak. And he was the guy who turned me on to music, which has literally obsessed me through all of my life. And that was Cajun music. That was the Creole music of the South. And I'll tell you how it happened. I had Dr. John on with me at the WPLJ, okay, when I was doing the overnight show. And he came on the show to promote an album or whatever. And in those days, what Dr. John did, I don't know if you remember this, but he was Dr. John the Night Tripper. And they said he was like the Gree man. And he did all this kind of mysterious stuff, and it was kind of voodoo stuff and so on. And I just thought it was kind of like, one of these acts that was just kind of, gimmicky. And then as I'm interviewing him on the show, he says, I really love, I learned how my music from a guy by the name of Professor Longhair down in New Orleans, who played this Zydeco Cajun music, whatever you want to call it. He said he taught me how to play piano. And I'd never heard of Professor Longhair. Shortly after that, I went and made myself aware of Professor Longhair, and he became so much of a obsession with me. His Rum and Coke became my theme song on radio for years in San Francisco. But John said to me, Mac said to me, I noticed in the other studio you have a piano, because we had these studios at PLJ, these little studios. And then in the middle was this big, huge studio that could be used for any number of things. And many times it was used for some reason or another to play music in. And they had a piano. And I said, well, sure. And we turned on the mics in there, and he went in, and he started playing this music that was the music he had learned how to play in New Orleans. And I really was never, I had lived in Houston, Texas, and I knew about what we called Cajun music, but I never became instilled in the whole history of it and the loveliness of the music that it was until that night when John Mac Rebenak sat down at the piano, guy I didn't know even played the piano, and started playing this magical music. And it was one of the most memorable nights of my life, was to see him. And he sat there for maybe an hour playing various things and explaining stuff about the music of New Orleans. And this was the Dr. John that I think you probably in later years got to know, because he started playing that music. And he was, at that time, when I first met him, a heroin addict. Now, he was a functioning heroin addict. There are certain people who do heroin so much that they are able to function on it. So he could go and play a concert and be high as a kite on heroin. Now, in later years, he quit heroin. In fact, from what I understand, something happened to him that happens to a lot of heroin addicts that doesn't get reported that much. And that is, he did what they call matured out of it. In other words, one day you wake up, right, and you decide that you don't want it anymore, and you just don't do it any longer. And that's what happened with Mac. But he was a heroin addict, and we would go to parties at hotels that he would hold. He would hold like a gathering after a show or something like that, and we would go up there, and on the table was this mummified human head. Yeah. And if you ever went to one of his concerts and you looked carefully at the top of the piano, there was this mummified human head. So finally, one day I asked him about it. In fact, I asked him about it on the air in an interview, and I said, I've been to your parties and I've been to your concerts, and there's this human head that you're dragging around, and, he says, yeah. And he had some name for him. I can't remember what the name was for him. And I said, why are you doing that? And he said, well, he says, I saw he was talking in his Cajun way of talking. He said, I came across this head in a store down in New Orleans, in a voodoo type store, and I decided to buy it. And now I take him everywhere I go, because I travel the whole world. I said, and this guy, we think, had been a slave, or had at least been a very poor black guy. He said, and I decided that I was going to take him with me wherever I went. And he said, I go to Italy, I take the head with me. I go to San Francisco, I take the head with me. At every concert I play, the head is on the piano. He said, this guy in death has had a better life and seen more things than he ever saw in life and in death. And I said, I always thought that was amazing. And sure enough, you go to a party, there was the head, you know. I mean, there was also Mac shooting up. He really had quite a habit going. You would go into the bathroom, there was blood on the walls. And I'm not saying anything out of school, because he one day cleaned up and had what I considered a spectacular career, and every piece of music he ever did I truly, truly enjoyed, because it was also filtered through my historical preference, my historical reference, rather, of knowing him and knowing the history behind the music that he was doing and how much he loved it. So I just, you know, I could say I'm going to miss him, but I haven't seen Mac, what, maybe 20, 25 years. He did one of our breakfasts with Bennett's in San Francisco. And again, he played the music and was just, you know, he just was terrific. He was a master musician. And the likes of him will not be seen that often, okay? There are a lot of guys still coming out of New Orleans who'll tell you that Mac was probably the best, you know. And I thank him for a lifelong love of Professor Longhair, who I would love to play here for you. But unfortunately, if I play it, I will then get dinged by YouTube, and Facebook may not even play the show. And I would have to explain that it would be fair use, but you can't, they have you prove that after the fact. So I wish I could play you some Professor Longhair, because he's wonderful. But why don't you do this? Just go online. I'm sure you can steal it from somewhere. Okay? And if you don't want to steal it, buy it. Anyway, I hope I haven't been too far out of sync tonight. I really, I think I'm pretty much in sync. If I'm not, fuck it. You know, I've been trying too hard here to make things perfect. I just hope they are acceptable. All right? Let me open up the Skype lines. Gee, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I found a new app, by the way, but I decided not to use it tonight because there is a problem with it. Well, I don't know if it'll work or not work. Let me see if I can get it to work. This is an app that takes whatever on my phone. Okay, let's see if it'll do it. I don't know if it'll do it. Yeah, there it's doing it. Okay, all right. Let me see here. Let me try this, all right? Boom. See that? I'm using my iPhone as a camera. Is that incredible? I just thought I'd do that for you so you could see. And then I could turn it around, and then you could get a real, oh, wait a minute, let me get a really ugly look at my face, okay? You know, you can see the room we do the show in here, you know. That's the noisy air conditioner, and there we go. Okay. Anyway, I just thought I would do that, and let me turn it off here. Here we go. Let me get rid of it. Boom, and we're through. Okay, there we go. Anyway, but I was going to do that tonight on the show and take you around and show you stuff. But the problem is that I suddenly realized the show is also audio, and some people would be missing it. So, anyway, let me. You hear that? Somebody's calling, and of course, it's our old friend, ladies and gentlemen. Oops. You got to turn that down. Give me your picture there, Charlie Wallace. There we go. There's Charlie. Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
How you doing this evening?
Pretty good.
Yeah. So did you hear any of that story about Dr. John?
Yeah, I remember Dr. John.
I loved his music. God, I loved his music. He was terrific. So, anyway. So Dr. John, oh, here comes Phil. Oh, yeah. It's a Phil-filled night. Let me see here. I tried to bring him in.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. What's the problem? I don't understand it. I'm clicking on it. There we go. Okay, now he's in. All right. Some reason I had some trouble bringing him in. Let me see here. Let me find out where I'm going to put him. Put him in the scuba diver. There we go. Okay, and there's Phil. Hi, Phil. How you doing?
All right.
What happened with your photo thing yesterday?
I took two firsts.
Yeah.
First in black and white, and a first for a color.
God, I imagine that at that club you could take a selfie and you'd get an award.
No, it's they've got me in basic in one category and intermediate in another. They got to move me up. Everybody else was competing in masters, and if you're not there that long, they're supposed to move you up. They finally moved me up in some categories, but they don't have enough people in other categories, and so it's a problem. But
that happened to me when I went to high school.
Yeah.
They figured I was a moron or something, so they put me in all these remedial classes, and I was getting straight A's.
Right.
And they said, well, if he's getting straight A's, he can't be that stupid. So they put me in regular classes, and I was a C student. Fuck them. I could have gone to college, for crying out loud. I could have gone to Harvard.
Well, you should have just told them that you were Jackie Coogan.
Yeah.
It's a resemblance.
Yeah.
I loved you in what was it, the Monsters?
Yeah. I'm
Adams
getting to feel like
Addams Family.
I'm getting to feel like Jackie Coogan.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
not Charlie. I mean, he doesn't age.
I think I have to go get an aspirin. I'm getting a headache. The weather is just attacking me.
Yeah. It's only like 35, 37% humidity here and like 75 degrees, but it feels a lot hotter.
Well, because 35% of that humidity is 100% of the humidity.
Yeah.
You see. So that's the way
It's only
it looks.
10% humidity here.
Yeah.
Well, you're in Arizona. Oh, yeah, but it's dry heat, right?
Yep.
They always say, yeah, it may be hot, but it's dry heat. Fuck you. It's still 200 degrees, for crying out loud.
So you melt when you walk across the street.
Your shoes stick to the pavement.
Sometimes it does get hot enough to melt the asphalt.
Even when it's hot here, I have to bend down and touch the pavement when I'm walking my dog to make sure she's not going to injure her paws.
Yeah. Well, the goofiest thing I ever saw in my life was during the winter. I got into an elevator in my apartment building downtown, and I looked down at this dog. This woman has her dog on a leash, and the dog is wearing these looked like the dog was a what do you call it, a poker table. One of these folding poker tables with the little caps on the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Those were booties to keep
the
dog's feet from freezing.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, sometimes you touch your bare skin to ice, and it sticks.
Yeah, you're right about that. So anyway, you beat up on these old men yesterday.
Yeah. And matter of fact, I forgot to bring it home, but in the previous one, I got in their newspaper for best of show.
Really?
Yeah.
So
one of my shark.
But the thing is, there should be a limit on the pictures that you bring in. In other words, you're probably bringing in some pictures that are 20 years old, right?
No, it was the sharks that I photographed in March.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the color one, I was experimenting with fireworks last year, and I found a way that if you keep the shutter open and then you turn your focus from all the way over from left to right, and keep the shutter open while that firework is exploding, you can get a very unusual firework. And so that's what I used last night in the color.
Yeah, I played with a camera. I had a thing I used to do, and I can't remember how I did it now, but I would literally, while I was taking a photograph of somebody, leave the lens open. This was at night,
Yeah.
and then I would shake the camera, so the people in the center of the picture were okay, but the rest was kind of really ethereal. Yeah.
Well, it's like leaving the shutter open and panning while something is moving, and then the background is blurry and the object is in focus. Sometimes with a car or a runner
Yeah.
or some.
Well, this is not exciting, is it, folks? No. Yeah.
Yeah. Photography.
Oh,
101.
letter. You got a letter. Got some mail.
Oh.
Got some mail.
All right. Hey, we got mail.
Oh, no, what was that?
I don't know. It was, she was waving some piece of paper at me. Probably the. Well, I'm not married, so it can't be the divorce papers.
Well, it's probably the summons.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyway, where was I? Oh man.
You were going to get a pill.
No,
an aspirin.
I'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah.
Now I'm
So
feeling nauseous.
yeah, what's nice about this club is that they belong to a Northern California deal where there's 14 other clubs, mostly old people, and then they have professional judges, and you're judged against those other 14 clubs. So and I've done pretty good in that too. So it's not just the ones I'm beating up that are down the street.
You don't go to it because you like photography. You go to it for the ego.
No. The guy who owns my building was a member, and that's how I met my store manager or my operations manager. He came out of retirement. I met him while doing photography, and I asked him if he wanted to work part-time, and he's been with me 6 years. So, and they both belong to this club, and so I said,
Gee,
"Well,
you
I'll
never
do it
asked
too."
me to go with you.
Well, it's first and third Wednesdays.
First and third Wednesdays? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, I'm waiting to get a big case of the trots. See, that's what I talk about. Because tonight I made ribs, and they were so good. But I put these spices on them, and the next day I pay for it. You know? So I'm...
Well, I understand. We can't eat what we used to eat.
Oh, I used to be able... I had a cast iron fucking stomach. I used to
We
be
all
able
did.
to eat the hottest, spiciest foods alive. And now I just have if I have chicken skin, I get the trots. You know?
Yeah.
Like a girlfriend always goes, because I love chicken skin. There's nothing better than chicken skin, right?
Well, it's fat.
When
I
you,
mean,
but
that
no,
shouldn't
but
bother you.
when you're eating the, well, no, maybe it should bother me. When you're eating the
Not
skin,
on your diet.
no, but for my stomach, my IBS, it's deadly.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
so I mean, I love skin. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, to me, it's the flavoring, the very flavorful part of the chicken. The actual white meat is dull.
Yeah.
You know.
There could be something going on with your IBS and inflammation. A couple of years ago, I talked about something called an ALCAT test, ALCAT.
Yeah.
And what they do is they test your blood against 200 foods and chemicals to see how your blood reacts and whether it creates when you get inflammation. So it could be not that the chicken skin is bad for you, but right now, until you eliminate certain foods that are creating the IBS, you have what they call leaky gut. And you can find out what those foods are, avoid them, actually heal
Well,
your
then
gut.
comparing that to my diet, I would probably have to quit eating everything.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when I had it done, I don't have Crohn's, but my nutritionist said,
But you are a crone.
yeah, she
yeah.
says there's so many things you can't eat. People with Crohn's can eat more stuff than you. You know?
Well, you know, so I find that if I have these ribs, sometimes I don't have a problem, and other times I have a problem. Oh,
Yeah,
here,
well, that could be intermediate.
Here comes SG, who's decided to call during the show. rather than
Right.
before the show.
And it looks like he's getting through.
Yeah, he's through, but we don't have him. He hasn't got a camera on. Turn your camera on,
His
SG.
thing is vibrating, so it might be working on it. There he is.
Huh? There he
Sort
is.
of.
Okay, let me see here. No, that's
Your
not him.
camera is foggier than Tony's, and you must have something on the lens.
I don't know what's wrong with him, but we'll see.
I
Let me see here.
no,
Oh,
you know,
geez.
is there a light behind you, SG? That yeah, there you go.
It's
That's
just
a little better.
Yeah, there's a light that's behind you, and it's maybe washing things out.
Hang on.
Every time you call, there's always a dozen problems we have to deal with.
It's like that for everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
Chat amongst yourselves.
clean your fucking lens. Get some Windex or something. Jeez Almighty! Oh yeah, we'll just wait while you fuck with the. You know, if you were worth it, I'd put up with it, but you're not. There we go,
That's
and
pleasant.
it still looks shitty. Well, it looks worse.
Chat amongst yourselves.
It looks worse. Why don't you take that thing and just dump it in water or something? You know, or maybe it is
He's
in
got
water.
a ceiling light on. That's what it is.
No. The whole thing
No,
is
it's
like
not. It's the lenses.
it's the Tony effect.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it rubs off.
Yeah. Well, it should, but apparently it
Apparently
doesn't.
it's not. Well,
Gee, maybe
You
I
know,
should put some Vaseline on mine.
you didn't? You mean you didn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
You know. But anyway, here we go. Now what's he got now to clean it?
He's got a real rag.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah. No.
It's not so good.
Not so
Concentrate
good.
on your-
That's
No,
better.
it's better than
Chat
before.
amongst yourselves.
All right.
Yeah. Not so good. Not so good. Let me see
That's
here.
better than it was.
It is better than it was. Yeah, it is better than it was. But then again,
This is interesting radio.
this is great radio. Let me see here, Steinzeller. Let me put Mr. Jeff. in it. Oh, now it's worse. What is on that lens? Have you been wiping boogers on it? No, what is wrong with your lens?
There's really something going on. Can you see yourself on? Can you see your camera?
No.
No.
Chat,
No.
chat amongst yourselves.
Oh well, how are you guys? Good to see you again. How are you? Don't pay any attention to the blurry guy at the bottom of the screen.
Doesn't Jeff look relaxed?
Yeah.
Jeff, you know something? I got to tell you, Jeff looks healthier than the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah.
Great color in his face. That beard is just the best beard. I could
That's
never.
because his doctors give him good attention. But you know, I asked my doctor the other day
Yeah.
to give me this diabetes medicine that a couple of my friends take called Trulicity, and both of their numbers, their A1C went down to like 5.9, and one of them went from 10 to 5.9 with this stuff, and Kaiser, they want to give me insulin. I said, I don't want insulin. I want Trulicity. Once a week, you stick the thing in your leg, and you're okay.
Yeah. And what do they tell you?
So they tell me no.
Fuck you. We
So-
don't like you. We want you to suffer.
No, they want to give me insulin. So I'm
That's
just
more expensive, isn't it?
no. I think this Trulicity is more
Oh,
expensive.
Trulicity's
Wow.
much more expensive. Yeah, because they advertise on TV, and when they advertise on TV, they want to make money. Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm going to try to figure out. I went with the Kaiser because here it is mid-year that I got on Medicare because my birthday's this month.
Oh, but don't go on Medicare, Phil, because that's socialism.
No, that was paid for.
Oh, we
Lost him.
We just lost him.
Yeah,
he
he's
gave up.
trying now. So I'm gonna see if I can switch. I'm gonna find out what plans my friends are on,
Mhm.
and that get this kind of service. And I'm just gonna go to those.
Yeah, yeah.
When they have open enrollment.
Let me put Jeff in that place, okay? I got to redo this.
So
Every
you
time,
put Jeff in that place, and now he's blurry. No, I'm only
every
kidding.
time, every time he calls.
Let me clean myself up.
There we are. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Okay, and let me go up to 3 here. Let me do this, and there we go. All right. Okay.
Because I know some people that say that the price of insulin's gone up so much they can't
Yeah.
afford it anymore.
Yeah, people are cutting down on their doses and they're dying.
Well, I just don't know why you want to involve yourself in socialism.
Well, I don't involve myself.
Well,
in
Medicare is
socialism.
pure socialism.
No, it's is Social Security socialism?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you pay into a plan and for specific services like Medicare as
The
well
fire
as Social
department?
Security, not the fire department. The fire
Yeah.
department's paid with your taxes, your homeowners taxes.
Yeah,
But-
everybody
Yeah, but
pays for
that's socialism.
That's socialism. Everybody pays for it.
That may be socialism, but the Medicare and the Social Security, I actually specifically paid for those services.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, oh yeah. I do my payroll every 2 weeks. I know that I'm paying for Medicare and Social Security.
No, you're paying into those systems so that everybody
Yeah.
can benefit from it because we're all pooling our money
Well, how
together.
come my
It's called
my
socialism,
benefit-
Phil. Haven't
come
you
my
heard of
benefit
it?
is
You-
based
you
on
don't know.
what I
You don't
paid
know
in?
what socialism is, and you don't know what communism is.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It-
How come your Social Security benefit is based on the amount that you paid in as per your payroll, your paycheck?
It is based.
So
It is based.
if-
it is, but you will still make a minimum amount.
Yep.
No matter how much you make or don't
Well,
make.
a friend of mine who's an art dealer.
In other words, what
never-
I'm saying is, let's say you threw in 25 cents over the years to Social
Yeah.
Security, and now you get old and you apply for Social Security. There's a certain amount of money you're going to get, whether you put a lot of money in there or a little bit of money in there.
I'll tell you, this friend of mine, he had an art gallery. Matter of fact, he knew you.
Why do we
He
always
sponsored
Why do
some
we
sort
always
of
have to hear
panel.
about your friends?
Well,
what is
this
this?
guy's
we
getting-
believe you
this
have
guy's-
friends, Phil, in spite
This
of
guy's
everything.
getting less than $150 a month from Social Security, even though he's 71.
Yeah.
Because he contributed so little. There were years when my ex was the one that was doing the filing, and I was showing zero. It was all showing up on her thing, and so my benefit wasn't as high as it could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Is anybody else going to call us tonight? By the way, and I think.
I tell you what.
What?
Why don't I just sit back and you guys have a conversation? Because I don't want to stifle the conversation. I want to make sure that everybody gets.
Well,
an opportunity.
when we get more, you can do that
No,
for
no,
us.
no.
No. When we get more,
You
can
got to
do that
work
for
with
us.
what you got.
Well, should I just?
Come on, tough
Should I
guy.
just get rid of you now?
Sure.
I bet all of a sudden people would call like crazy.
Okay, I'll take you up on it.
But come on,
All right.
folks. SG. See what a pain in the ass SG is. Comes on, monopolizes everything, trying to clean his goddamn camera, and then he hangs up on us. When
He's trying to fix it. He didn't
No.
know there was a problem until we pointed
No,
it
every
out.
time he calls, there's a problem.
Well, yeah, okay. That's
That
the way it is.
monopolizes our attention.
Every time you get on the air, you got a problem. Even when you're off
No,
the
I
air, you
don't.
got.
Well, you want me to get off now? I'll go.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
I'll be glad to go. Hold on a
Hey,
second.
I looked at.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'll get rid of me here. Wait a minute, there we go. Yeah, here we go. Goodbye, everybody. See you later. There we go. Okay.
I decided that I like that new Apple Mac Pro.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Oh.
The $30,000 one.
No. The only thing I'm going to buy is the stand.
Yeah, the stand. Yeah, right. Right. You know, I think I'll come back, folks. There we go. Somebody said last night, I bet Phil wants to buy that.
You did.
No, I didn't say it.
Oh,
Somebody else said it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, somebody did say
And
it.
I said he'd probably be stupid enough to buy it. Yeah.
Do you know how much?
Fully loaded. If you went and got like what I have,
grand.
I have the trash can fully loaded here,
Yeah.
and if I were to have bought it at its full price rather than buying it used, it would have cost me close to $8,000. That was maxing
More
out.
than that.
What? Maxing out
more.
everything. If you went online right now, took the trash can, added all the stuff I have in here, it would come to 8,000, maybe change. Okay. This thing starts at 6,000, and it doesn't give you diddly squat. It's got less than I've got in this thing. You know?
Does it start at 14 cores?
It's-
No,
no,
the fully loaded is 28, 28 cores.
starts at 8 cores.
Okay.
If you can then add stuff, you can add graphics cards, and you can add this and add that and everything. When you top it out and max it out, okay?
35.
No, $45,000.
Wow. Is that three 6K monitors too?
No, that's without the monitors. Then you got to get the monitor. Then you got to get the monitor, which is $5,000, and then if you want the stand, it's another $1,000.
Yeah, but you can get that thing set up for a rack system, and I would imagine if you had the monitor, you wouldn't want a single stand. You'd probably have 2 or 3 monitors.
Oh, good. Yeah, I spend $15,000 on fucking monitors. Tim Cook can blow me, and I know he can do it too. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's just. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, Jeff.
Are any of you guys like investing in Apple? Like, you have some of the stock or anything? like that?
No. They just have our money.
Do they? Are they making money there?
Yeah, off their fucking phones and iPads and stuff
I
like
think
that.
they're very smart in strategically going for a specific market, which is super high end. In business, you have to either go to the high end or the low end. Really, there's no middle.
Well, the thing is, though, they're not really offering hobbyists and professionals on the low end. There's, unless you want to get one of those mini Macs maxed out, and they don't do the trick. Okay, I think the thing you want to do, folks, is as much as you hated the trash can, start buying them up.
I'm happy with mine.
I'm happy with mine,
and I think for the next few years that it'll give me everything I need.
It's got all the power to do what I'm doing here, and right now my CPU is at 11%. Okay, yeah. So I mean, what do we? I'm very happy with it now that I got it working.
My trash can isn't as fast as yours. It's only got 16 gigs, which I can increase, and 6 core, and I think it's a 1 gig SSD.
Yeah.
But my thing has 2 things that you didn't have. I never had to send it back to Apple.
Yeah, right.
And I only paid $2,000 for it.
Okay, here's the best part about me paying 3.3 and having to send it back to Apple. To correct all their mistakes in fixing it, they replaced literally almost everything except for the SSD, which didn't need it, and the fan, and the power unit, the fan. Everything else has been replaced. Now, I'm not saying that it's all been replaced by new stuff. It could be refurb parts, but it's like a brand new machine sitting here.
Oh yeah. Well, you had to go through some service, but
yeah. But now that I did, I lucked out. You know, I was thinking of writing this company and saying, thank you for sending me a terribly defective computer. Because guess what happened along the
Yeah.
way? For $326 or $56, I was able to upgrade it to
Okay.
completely
Well,
new.
The new Mac Pro. If you're shooting 8K, and let's say you have one of those red dragons, or
They
and
don't
you're, and
shoot
you're,
8K.
Hmm?
They don't shoot 8K.
Yeah, they're 8K.
No, they don't. I know the dragon. I know the red. It doesn't
Yeah.
shoot 8K.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're 8K.
There are no I don't know of any 8K cameras out there.
Okay, well let me go to
Oh,
Red's website. and
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find 8K there. You may find 5K.
No, the monitor for the Apple.
It
is
says
5K.
it can do 8K. It doesn't mean that you're going to be able to generate 8K.
I'm pretty sure the Red is 8K.
I'm telling you, I don't think the red is 8K.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
and secondly, what do I need with 8K? Because I can't afford a red. Okay.
So I just clicked on something with Red and it said something about 5K.
Yeah.
The
well,
Gemini is a new unit. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
By the way, you know the human eye can't even see 4K. So
but that's not the point. The point is you shoot it in let's say 8 or 6, and then you render it down to 4 or 1080p even.
So.
And well, you have a much better.
Do you do much rendering, Phil?
No, but my
a
friend
video
Matt does.
No, I do, and I'm telling you, if I take a show and I shoot it at 1080 and then I take it down to 720, you're going to see the
real-time
difference.
8K workflow.
Real-time 8K workflow that doesn't say the camera shoots in 8K.
Well, it's the Red.
No, but the camera. What's the specification of the camera?
5K.
Okay, then shut
the one I'm looking at is 5K.
Shut the
and
fuck
the
up.
S35.
They don't have an 8K camera.
Okay, well, it's real-time 8K.
Just type in.
Oh, wait a minute! It says right on the front of the goddamn thing, 8K. On the Monstro, the DSM CS2 Monstro, it says 8K. They have different ones. This one's the Dragon X is 5K.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so they have different ones. There's one that's 8K.
And hold on a second. I'm just going to put in 8K video cameras.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what we come up with. Okay, there's a Canon full frame, but none of these are that. Red Digital
Look up
Cinema.
the Red. Go to red.com.
Here's Red Digital Cinema, and
Red
Red 8K cameras
8K.
now, the best image in the industry.
Right.
Okay.
The Monstro is 8K.
Yeah. And how much is that camera?
I don't know, probably 50 grand.
Yeah. So am I going to buy it? No.
No, you rent them when you're going to
No,
shoot. You're only going to have a shoot.
What's interesting is that when I first heard about Red, the great thing about Red was they had this incredible camera, and its cost was incredibly cheap.
Right.
And now they've gone into being a camera company where you can spend 50 grand, 60 grand on a camera. It's not the company it used to be.
But that's the same camera that you would have to pay $200,000 and $300,000 for, in the old days.
Well, everything was more expensive in that field because it was more expensive to produce those items. Today, it's not as expensive.
Yeah. There's a number of underwater divers.
Listen, the audience doesn't know what the fuck we're talking about anymore.
Well, you go to red.com.
Yeah, everybody go to red.com. You'll be bored out of your wits at red.com.
Well, anyway, that new computer will render this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I don't give a shit. I'm not going to do 8K.
Well, you're still, if you had a car, you would still crank the thing in the front, and
I've got a very powerful machine here. When I do video, it's amazing how fast it renders the video, and it renders it in real time if I want to play it. It's just that when I finally want to make a file out of it, it has to take a little bit of time to render.
Yeah. What I wanted, you bought my old Mac Mini Mac,
Yeah,
and that was a fast machine.
that was a good. It was a good little machine. It wasn't terrific, but it was good.
Well, at the time, it was the fastest thing you could get in a Mini.
In a mini, yeah, but that's saying like you know,
Yeah, it
I'm
was
trying
before
to.
they came out with 8 cylinders. But this thing, if I slide the contrast slider or something, I get almost immediate response. I don't. There's no lag.
Hmm.
And I'm sure with your 12 core that's
Oh,
true
12
too.
core
But
just it screams. It just
yeah,
screams. It rendering for certain things. Like I do a rendering every night in taking the larger file that this thing makes and bring it down to a much more compressed file. Usually used to take 25 minutes. Now it takes 10. Boom, zip. So I'm very happy with it. But anyway.
yeah. I'm gonna have to find out. Can you take a wave file that's, let's say, 80K and take it down to 5K megs, 5 megs?
To begin with, I don't think an audio file would be that huge.
Yeah, I have one, and
No, I
for
mean my this show every night, the audio file is about 50 megabytes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to do it, but if I put it on a fob and sent it to you, do you think you could play with
What?
it? And,
What do you want me to do?
I have this message on hold for my phone system,
Yeah.
and it used to be on a CD,
Yeah.
and so when you put somebody on hold, it plays like little advertisements.
Hmm.
So what's happening now is I just got a voice over IP system, and when I try to download it
Hmm.
to their thing, it was too big of a file and it wouldn't take it.
No, I see. Okay. By the way, we've been joined by the lovely and attractive Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Yeah. Well, send that to me, and I'll do nothing with it because I charge.
All right.
Because I'll send you the bill.
The check will be
No.
in the
Well, what do
mail.
you want? What do you want the file changed into?
The same WAV file, but I want it reduced in size,
Hmm.
compressed,
Well,
I guess.
I think I could do that, but I don't.
All right.
How do I reduce? I know how to reduce video. Because I do so much video. I've never had to reduce audio.
Yeah.
Why do you
Well,
want to? Why do you want to
baffled.
compress it down?
To 5 gig or
Oh.
5 meg,
Why?
so that I can download it to the Verizon voice over IP site, and it will work on my voice on hold or my message on hold.
You got me mixed up here. You can't just send them your file.
No.
Hmm.
And now that I bought the system, they give you no service.
I see. Well, that's par for the course, I guess. Hello there, Kevin. How are you?
All right, how are you, Alex?
Yeah. How's your health, by the way? How you feeling?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still messing with the gizmo.
Yeah. How's the gizmo working for you? You happy with it, or?
Yeah, it was giving me some problems last week. I was up in Oregon all last week helping my buddy up there with the ALS, but I had some problems with one program, and then I switched over to another one, and it seemed like it was doing much better, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So run through a few of those, see what happens.
That kind of sounds good.
It's gonna take a while to get it all tweaked out,
Yeah, but I mean, you're happy basically with what it does. I mean,
So far,
it
yeah,
has
it's
served
got
you.
its ups and downs.
It's
got
served.
its ups and downs, but
Has it served you as advertised?
you know, I think it could be better.
Oh, okay, all right.
But I'm trying to be patient with it.
Yeah.
As a patient.
Yeah. No, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Charlie's got his health problems, or he had them.
Mhm.
Lost a couple of toes, and how many did you lose total?
6.
6 toes, all on one foot. That was the amazing
That was
part
the
of
hard
it. Yeah. What do you do? Do you wear something in your shoe that?
No,
No, you just
I
learn.
just got empty space in the front of my left shoe.
Well, how do you balance?
Not very well.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, I don't balance too well, and I got all my toes, you know. But so we got Charlie with the toes. We got Kevin with his back, I guess, basically.
And my legs, yeah.
And your legs. We got Jeff with his, I don't know, his pacemaker that he has on stun. Okay. And then we have Phil, who's lost his prostate. So who, and me, I actually am the healthiest one out of the group.
Your tooth.
I mean, this is, yeah, if you want to call this program, you must have an illness, folks. You must have some kind of infirmity. I'm thinking of banning Ray Renati from this program because he doesn't seem to have any medical problems. You know? Tony doesn't have any medical problems. He has a few mental problems, but he doesn't have a medical problem. And I feel that I'm going to have to kick him off the show. Who else? Who else do we have that's healthy? John Rockwell. Oh, yeah, he's dead.
Oh, yeah.
Fooled us all.
If you're dead, are you healthy, though? That's the question.
Actually, yeah, I would say so.
You're
right?
not. You're non-symptomatic.
No more pain.
No more pain. You know.
No more problems.
Yeah.
No more problems. No more bills.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you know, so I hear about all these people dying, like Dr.
Hey.
John. I felt really bad about because I liked the guy. He was cool.
Did he?
Who took John's
Yeah, he
apartment?
died. 77.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't John
wow.
live in an apartment in a semi-cool area,
Wait a minute.
downtown?
What do you mean? Who?
Night
John Rockwell.
John Rockwell. No, it wasn't a cool apartment. Cool?
Yeah, well, I thought it was a few floor walk up, but
It's what is known in France as a hovel.
okay.
Yeah. Anyway, let me see here. New Orleans musician John Rebenak. His name wasn't Malcolm John Rebenak. Okay, because we knew him as Mac. Better known as Dr. John, died. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee and 6-time Grammy Award winner died Thursday from a heart attack.
Wow.
Did over 30 albums in his career. It was probably most closely identified with Wrong Place, Right Place, Wrong Time.
Yeah.
The Night Tripper.
Well, also
Right.
another song, What a Night, that he did,
Yeah.
which was written about a friend of mine and his girlfriend. The girlfriend was Jerry Wexler's daughter, and the guy in the song was her boyfriend. And the song's all about Mac trying to hit up on Anita. And all of a sudden her boyfriend walks in, you know. She walked in with her best friend Jim, and that was his name. So
Well, way back in the '80s, when I was on the CB radio, my handle was Dr. John.
yeah,
I was known as Doc.
yeah. Well, he was just terrific. His music was amazing.
I loved him.
I mean, I just
Great piano player.
yeah. Well, when he sat down in my studio that night and played the piano, and I didn't know he could play the piano because he was Dr. John the Night Tripper at the time. Was doing all this gree shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know he could play the piano, and I said to him, "Where'd you learn to play the piano?" And he said, "I didn't know you could play the piano." He says, "I learned my tutor, the guy who taught me, was Professor Longhair." And then I started going and getting records by Professor Longhair, and I heard where this came from. And I will have to say that Mac actually played piano better than Professor Longhair. But Longhair played it so uniquely and it was his own style that technically John was better. But aesthetically, there was something about Longhair. And of course, John told me, listen to Longhair. This guy was the best there ever was. And his name was Bird. I can't remember his first name. And he got into some kind of trouble and lost his cabaret license. And if you didn't have a cabaret license, you couldn't play in bars and things like that, play piano. And so for years, for like 20 years, he couldn't play in clubs in New Orleans. and but his music is just. I mean, I'd play some for you right now, but then I get into all kinds of trouble with YouTube, and they can't play that. Well, you know, I'm trying to show people what Professor Longhair. Just go.
Yeah.
Go. What is it? Google Professor Longhair. I'm sure there's some music online. Go to YouTube. I don't know how those guys get it done, but on YouTube you put in Professor Longhair, and there's a song by Professor Longhair. And then if I played that clip from YouTube that was put up there by somebody, they would tell me you can't do that. It's in copyright. Then how did they do it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know.
Well,
you know who else used to be good as Leon Russell. I loved Leon Russell.
Leon Russell was incredible.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, one of the best albums he ever did in his whole life was the last one he ever did. The one he did with Elton John.
Uh-huh.
If you heard the album?
No, I haven't heard that.
Lay your hands on it. To begin with, Elton John was, in the early days, he traveled, you know, as a opening act for Leon Russell. And Leon Russell affected him, and when Leon got older and not too well, Elton decided he wanted to do something nice for Leon, and he did a whole album with him, and it is terrific.
I heard about it, yeah.
Yeah, it won the Emmy. It won the Grammy for that year. For Album of the Year.
I always liked Tightrope. That was a good
Oh,
album.
that was a great album. I mean,
Yeah.
all his stuff was just terrific. But do you know where Leon Russell started out? He was a producer. And what big hit did he produce?
God, I know I can't remember.
Gary Lewis and the Playboys, Everybody Loves a Clown.
Yeah.
Yeah, he produced that. And he was terrific. He was, you know, I think we liked him for the same reason we liked Dr. John. There was a kind of that real funky quality, genuine funky quality, you know. So. But anyway, we lost Mac, we lost Leon a while back. You know, they're all
just lost SG.
Well, that's no big loss, okay. Well, it's time now, ladies and gentlemen, for Phil Meyer to get back at us for talking about him last night. You heard the show last night, right? Last night's show?
Yeah, before I fell asleep. Which part?
Well, we're just talking about...
it's Trump time?
What? What do you mean it's Trump time?
Oh, you were saying that you were going to talk about anything but Trump, so I couldn't get back at you.
How he fucked up the day yesterday, or how he fucked it up today?
I think there's a woman. I'm just looking at a headline. It says, "Woman stabs self 3 times because she's tired of living in Trump country." You know,
Poor woman.
Hey, you guys.
Well,
can
because
learn from
being
that.
stabbed 3 times by herself felt better than living in Trump country.
Yeah, but just remember, not to repeat myself.
In fact,
you guys can learn from that.
Painful rectal itch, and I speak from experience here over the last week or so. Painful rectal itch is better than Trump.
PRI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What do you want to talk about?
Painful rectal itch,
Oh, you got it.
and how it pertains to Donald Trump.
Well, he doesn't have it.
Oh, you don't know? We don't. Did you see him? By the way, did you see him in that fucking tuxedo the other night at the Queen's?
He's making history by changing the way people dress.
Yeah. This is what's called nouveau slob.
Hey, I thought it looked pretty good until somebody commented that the thing was too long.
Did you notice the belly going over? I mean, come on, Phil.
I don't notice that over mine.
Phil, you would not wear that. Okay.
No, because I don't wear tail tuxedos. I have a couple of tuxedos, but they look more like suits than they do tails.
I have a very lovely picture of me with tails, posed next to Grace Slick.
Yeah.
Top hat and tails, by the way.
Wow. No, I've never done the top hat and tails, but I
It was
like.
it was the
I think
it was the
men-
BAMI Award
men
show in
look
San
great in
it was,
tuxedos.
it was the BAMI Award show in San Francisco, and I decided to show up wearing top hat and tails.
Yeah, and everybody else had a T-shirt on.
Yeah. Is Grace Slick still alive? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Boy, she's got to be an old broad. Yeah. No, he looked like an absolute fucking slob. I mean, he always, sometimes when he has to go to those kind of affairs, he looks like a little kid who doesn't want to be there. You know,
Well,
who's that?
Was
Mommy
he
and
wearing? Was he wearing one of those long red ties?
No. You know, I heard story about why he wears those long red ties, because it's a terrible fashion statement, okay?
Yeah.
It's a disgusting
Okay.
fashion. That he feels he is short and it makes him look taller.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that would change the perception of your height.
Well, he thinks it does. Either that or he's making up for his penis. One or the other.
It's hiding a lot of stuff.
What he dropped from lunch.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Is he getting fatter? I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you would think as president and having those sleepless nights, you would lose some weight, you know.
Is he actually having a sleepless night? He may not be listening to all the machinations.
Well,
about,
today Pelosi was reported in a private meeting, a private setting, of saying that she believed that she didn't want to see him impeached. She just wanted to see him go to jail.
Now, do you think that was to appease her left-wing base?
I don't think she said it.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I really don't think she said it. And if she said it, good for her. You know, I don't think. I think she's been going against the left-wing base, and I think very smartly so. In that I think an impeachment is a bad idea, and it's bad for any number of reasons. Number one is that even if you started it today, you would not be completed with it by the next election.
Yeah,
Okay?
timing is bad.
The timing is bad. If you want to get him and he gets reelected, then go at him the minute he gets elected. Okay? Then go after
They
him.
will.
But the point is that, and I think she also feels that it just will not help the Democratic Party in the eyes of the American public if they go after him that way.
But
Yeah.
there's a number of Democrats that she needs to at least throw a bone to, and that's her way of maybe deflecting.
No, I don't think
the
she has to throw.
impeachment
I don't
talk.
think she has to throw a bone to anybody. You know, all she has to keep happy is her constituency. You know, and San Francisco loves Nancy Pelosi.
Right, but she's Speaker of the House, and can't they have a vote to change the Speaker?
They can change the speaker, but I think they will all agree that she's doing a pretty damn good job. And just because they are divided on a certain issue doesn't mean that's the reason why you get rid of her. You know. I don't think
it's a distraction.
I don't think Democrats are as petty as Republicans in that fashion.
Oh, you're kidding me.
What?
Are you kidding me?
Huh. We're not petty at all. You know, so
Okay, well, I guess, delusion is it's allowed.
I see two empty spaces here. Yesterday we had them all filled, by the way, Phil.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not a problem. I can give you one less space.
Well, tomorrow night you're not here again, right?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be in the city having a nice steak and with a buddy.
Why is it that you look upon steak as being the end-all of foods? I mean, you seem to think, and it's not unusual because for years in our society, going out to have a steak meant you had a certain amount of wealth,
I'm a Republican. It's like just throwing me red meat.
No, but now I'm asking you, what is it? Because you always, whenever you talk about meals, you talk about steaks.
I like steak.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer a good steak over just about anything.
What would I prefer? You know what I had? Well, I mentioned this the other night. I had the ravioli. I
Yeah.
will take ravioli any day over steak.
You see, we were talking about in France and Italy and stopping at these one-off places,
Yeah.
and you have escargot and you have this and you have that, and some of these things are just unbelievably delicious. But I can't
Escargot.
make a
Wait a
steady
minute.
diet
Do
of
you
it.
think escargot is delicious?
Oh, the butter and the garlic.
No,
is.
wait, but the butter and the garlic is. How about the snail?
You don't taste the snail.
Well, then here's the point. Why not
Where
just
else are you gonna eat butter and
why not
garlic?
just forget the fucking snail and just have the garlic and the butter? Because the fact is, the snail, if you ate it without the garlic and the butter, you go, blech.
Yeah, and then you put it on the bread.
No, here's how I think they discovered escargot. Okay,
Yeah.
guys are always trying to get laid. They're always trying to impress women. So then one day a guy said, "Look what I can eat." Dare me to eat that thing that's crawling up the wall there? Let me show you, right?
Yeah.
Put a little butter and garlic on that, and I'll eat it. Right? Oh, you're such a man. I'll fuck you. Okay.
But
now wait a minute. Same way bullfighting was invented. Now, what would you say if I go out there and I put a red cape in front of a bull, and I let him charge? What would you think I was wonderful? I'd fuck you, And so that he had learned that if you have the cape, because bulls are not the smartest animals in the world, you have the cape in front of the bull, and you're shaking it. The bull is going to go for the cape, not for the guy on the side of the cape.
You missed one thing, one important part.
What?
It's not the bullfighting itself that makes the guy a manly man. What it is the adoration of the crowd towards the guy that makes him more desirable to the woman.
But still,
So
it's
not the
to begin
act
with.
of
The bullfighting is bullshit. If I may use a term.
It could be.
Many times it is, because the bull is not going to win. Okay, there's no
Sometimes they
chance.
do.
No. I heard about one case. George Lopez told me a story about his father took him down to Tijuana, and the bull actually survived. Okay, and he when they were leading the bull out, people were yelling "Viva Toro, Viva la Toro," whatever, and they lead him out, and the next thing you heard was a shotgun blast. So they never had a chance of surviving. They would, they would stick picks in them, and they were bleeding, and they would weaken them, and then finally the guy would go in for the kill after this bull was so weak he couldn't see straight.
Now, do they get steaks from bull or just cows?
Well, they did in the old days. For poor people, they would feed them the bull that was in the ring. Yeah. I don't think it's that great. You would rather. Wait a minute. You do. Yeah, no. A steak. The steak you eat in a place was not bull. Bulls. Do bulls have
Bull's the
testicles?
Yeah.
Okay. The bull is the male, so you eat the male. Yeah, that's the steak you eat. You don't eat cows. Cows.
No, they don't slaughter cattle.
Cattle, but not cows. Not milk.
Cattle aren't cattle.
No.
A lot of cattle.
I believe cattle.
A lot of cows.
I
equal
believe
cattle.
cattle is cattle, but cows are for milk. Okay, that's what
They
we.
were at one time until you eat them.
No, but does anybody here know that we eat cows? I never hear of eating cows.
Well, I think we eat cows.
We
Yeah,
eat.
Hamburgers from cows.
Is it
we
really?
Push them over.
Is it really?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I think so.
Here's what these are all the things I don't know about the food I eat, folks.
Yeah. So, do you have a lot of love of steak?
I love.
Would you rather eat a really good steak than something else?
Well, it depends on what that something else is. You know what I would rather eat?
Not pussy.
You know what I would rather eat? You know what I'd rather eat than steak? Tripe.
Oh, I know that, but God.
Oh, I make tripe. I'm great at it.
every once in a while, I would go to this Vietnamese thing that they have the noodles and
That's not where you want to get tripe. You want to get tripe in a Spanish restaurant.
Oh, because they put tripe in the one where they put everything, and it looks. There's no way I'd eat.
Tripe is wonderful. I would, to me, it's a delicacy.
Yeah, well, I don't eat.
You
tongue.
ever had tripe, Jeff?
I don't think I ever had it.
Isn't tripe belly?
It's the intestines of
Intern.
it's the intestines of the inner lining of the cow's stomach. Okay.
Don't they use that to wrap pork sausages?
No. But what it is it's kind of fuzzy on one side. It has a really interesting texture, and I love it because my mother used to make it, and so I could hardly wait to have it. So when I grew up, I learned how to make it myself, and I can make a mean menudo, as it's called, my mother used to make it, and to me, it's comfort food. It's a thing you grew up with. So,
my mother made Swanson TV dinners and meatloaf, and if we didn't have that, we had reservations out.
Yeah, well, my mother cooked that. Oh, the other thing she taught me how to eat was tongue.
Oh, boy.
Well, tongue is not unusual. You probably have.
I'm not a tongue fan.
But Jeff's probably had it. You go to a delicatessen and you get yourself. I used to like to get tongue and corned beef sandwiches. I don't like to go to the back. I don't like to go
Male and females are eaten, but the males are castrated and become steer,
Okay.
Oh,
and then they're beef.
So
after
here's
that.
the thing that happens. Here's the thing that happens to a cattle. First, we cut their balls off, and then they have no
That's
reason. And then that's being kind because now they have no reason to live.
There you go.
are they married to a Jewish woman?
Yeah. Well, I used to talk about Ronnie, that we had two male cats, and she castrated one of my cats. I came home. She said, "Guess what I did today to the cat?" Oh, hey, castrated. And then I always just like to joke about it. And then we had a second male cat, and she castrated that one. So I got rid of her before she got around to me.
Were the cats upset after the procedure?
Hmm?
Were the cats upset after the procedure?
They just kept licking their mythical balls,
Kind of like.
And I had this
Charlie
one
and
cat.
Stowe's.
Oh, I had this one cat, Shabbos, who he used to. Once we had him castrated, every now and then he would jump on the female, right, and start humping her, and she'd be going crazy. Okay, we're gonna fuck now. He's grabbing her by the nape of the neck and all of that, and she's going, wah, wah, and he's starting, and then all of a sudden he would just stop, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then she would turn around and start hitting him.
Was Shabbos the one? Did that cat like this kind of not be seen?
No, he loved to
No?
be seen. He was a wonderful cat.
Which one shit in the tub?
Oh, that was Yuntiv.
Oh, well then I knew Yuntif for a short period of time.
Yeah, then she
and I knew
died.
Mouse.
She died, but she was a mean. And then Mouse, I felt very bad about Mouse dying.
Yeah.
She died on the couch. Well, you took her to the.
I slept on that couch.
But didn't you take her to the veterinarians for me?
No. You were talking about BAM magazine. Who was the guy that owned BAM magazine?
Dennis Erdogan.
Who's his brother?
I'm trying to remember.
Heavy set guy.
Yeah.
He's the one that took him.
Oh, okay. Because I couldn't take the cat to the vets.
I'm pretty sure he's the one that took him because we were sitting around at the table. He was there, and I think he did you the favor.
Yeah.
So it was Rokian's brother.
In a way, if I ever had to do a movie and I had to do a crying scene and I wanted to bring tears to my eyes, I would think about Mouse dying.
I don't like cats, and that cat was so amazing. Blind and could piss in the toilet.
Yes. Yeah. Then people will say to me, does she crap in the toilet too? I said, you can't have everything. You know, I mean, come
But you
on,
had one that
enough?
crapped in the
Isn't it
tub.
enough that my cat can can pee in the toilet? She would get on the toilet seat and just sit there and read a magazine. You know, whatever. You know, she was amazing. She was an amazing cat. She was very smart, very bright, and went blind and could see better than the other cats. Yeah, she knew that house from stem to stern. And then
But
she
even Sausalito, she,
Yeah.
had no problem.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyway, let's not talk about Mouse. I loved her, but she's been dead how many years now?
It's a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's when I first went to San Francisco, which was 1980, I think, 79, 80.
80, you were still in
80. No, 80. Late 80.
80, 82.
No, late
you went
80.
To San Francisco.
No, late 80.
Oh, late 80, you were living in the Bay Area. You were living in Sausalito.
And I was working at the KMEL.
Right. But you lived in Sausalito.
I lived in Sausalito, and then in 82, I left.
Moved to the city.
Yeah, I left the radio station and went to another radio station. Because the loyal me that I am, they offered me more money. So, you know. And that turned out to be a bad situation. But
Well, not too bad because Camel, I think, plays hip hop.
does it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know why I'm so tired these days. My head is light, and maybe it's a heart problem. I don't know. No, I don't have any chest pains or anything. Yes,
Neither
yes,
did
yes,
I.
Jeff knows a lot about the heart stuff.
Yeah. Muted, Jeff.
Jeff, you're muted. Yeah.
Okay, now you're good.
I think part of it is the bugs and all this stuff that's coming out.
The pollen.
Yeah,
I think that's what's doing it. You know.
I think it affects me.
Because I go down to the gym and I get on the cycle and I go for 25 minutes at a good clip, and I'm not even panting, and I leave, and I'm not feeling chest pains or anything, but I'm still lightheaded, you know. So,
It could be these new diseases that they're bringing across the border.
I see. Yeah, well, it's those fucking Mexicans, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Also what's happening is, I guess they come across the border and ICE is taking and Border Patrol is taking the drugs that the people have, and they said that they're medications. So they're confiscating those medications. I wonder if those medications are cocaine and fentanyl and marijuana.
Yeah, all those people with their children are bringing drugs across the border.
Well, they rent those children.
They rent them. I see.
Yeah.
So they put that stuff down their pants, right?
It's from
they do it like Midnight
it's
Express.
from the Mexican company Rent a
Stuff it
Nino.
all over 'em.
It's from a Mexican company called Rent a Nino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can get a 2-for-1 too.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff.
Yes, so I was going to tell you that I cooked clams tonight.
Mhm.
You guys ever have that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my mother used to cook clams all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like oysters too.
Yeah, but that's different, Phil. You don't cook oysters.
Well, you can, but
You
oysters Rockefeller.
You shell oysters, or you can cook them. I used to go to a place out in Bodega Bay,
Yeah.
or Tamales Bay, excuse me. And I'm trying to remember the name of the place.
That oyster company that's been
No,
around for 100
no.
years?
This one was further. This one is, oh God, what's the name of it again? But anyway, they would have on Sundays they would do the barbecued oysters. So that's when you had cooked oysters. And I would get half of those and half of the raw oysters. You know.
Yeah.
By the way, just in case you don't know, you know what kind of noise annoys an oyster? Well, I'll answer that for you. A noisy noise annoys an oyster.
God bless America.
So, did you dig those clams or did you just buy them and cook them?
Oysters, I never.
No.
No, you're talking about
Oh,
me.
clams? Oh, yeah. You just take them and throw
first
them.
I
They
take
call them
olive.
steamers.
I put olive oil and onions and garlic and wine, and then I put the clams in
Huh.
when it's all
You could have had
steamed.
escargot.
And, that's it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
Right.
That sounds very
Yeah, it
good.
is.
Oh, I put
I-
chorizo.
But
Yeah.
but sometimes
The broth.
if one of the clams doesn't open up, you don't eat that, right?
Right. You know, I get them from Costco, and they're always good.
Yeah.
Really? You know, I find that not produce, meats and stuff like that at Costco are questionable at best. You know,
Really?
well,
You
sometimes you get a great like steak, okay, but you got to buy 4 of them, and usually one of them is not as good as the other 3.
Ah,
Okay,
well, that's-
and then some weeks they're all terrible. There's no quality. There's no, you know, it's funny. I've got this store called Fine Fare. I mean, it's just dopey little grocery store here in Harlem. Fine Fare always made sure they had places in depressed neighborhoods, so they could raise
So they can charge high prices.
when the welfare checks came out. Yeah, and I go down there and I buy these ribs, these little baby back ribs, just a little thing, and I spend 3 hours cooking it, and then we eat it, and it was just delicious. But I bought ribs at Costco, and they're terrible. And I
Now, how do you make your ribs? Usually, when I eat great ribs, it's because they got some sort of smoker, and
Don't need
you know,
a
usually
smoker.
go to a rib place.
you don't need a
and
smoker.
They've got some sort of oven that is.
You can do a smoker, but I mean, you don't have to. What I do is I take the ribs, and I put rub all over them, okay, and then I seal it in foil, and then I put it in the oven for 20 minutes at 325. Then I lower the oven down to 225 and cook it for another hour and 20 minutes. Then I take the foil off, put it back in the oven for another hour at 225, and then after that hour I pull it out, put the sauce on it, then put it back in for about another 20 minutes, and for another 5 minutes I turn on the broiler so I get a char on the top.
Okay, so you bake it basically, and then
no
you just
I bake it, yeah.
yeah.
And I literally, these ribs when I make them fall off the bone. Delicious, just delicious, and it's no real problem. It's a very simple dish to make. I mean, I just told you folks how to do it. It's that simple, you know. So go make them, have a good time, and I think I've got heartburn now. No, I think
Yeah.
that's the heart
You should
attack
get that
thing.
ALCAT test
Yeah.
and find out what it is that, and what affects you doesn't necessarily affect anyone else. You know.
I don't want the fucking ALCAT test.
Well, then you'll know what to stay away from, and you'll feel better.
Well, I don't know why I have a slight heartburn feel here, but anyway, you're giving me agita. That's the reason why.
Hey, I was good tonight.
By the way, that speech that Trump gave at Normandy he's so bad at reading speeches. He's
the
really
difference?
bad. I mean, it wasn't a badly written speech, it was just badly read. And you could tell he was reading it and he didn't want to veer from it because he was afraid he would fuck up because he doesn't have the ability to veer from a script, you know. And he's looking back and forth at teleprompters. Remember how he used to give Obama a bad time for teleprompters? And
I
now-
was just thinking that.
yeah.
Uh,
And it was just kind of like, you know, God, we've had other presidents who've been there and given the same speech, or different speech, but the same occasion, and done such a beautiful job of it. Reagan, for instance, gave the textbook speech on how to give a speech of this sort. And I think Clinton did it, and I know that George Bush did it, and then I know that Obama did it. And they all brought to it a certain dignity, and dignity is something that Trump is incapable of.
Well, when they have the 80th tribute, you know, the 80 years, now this is 75, but when they have the
They're
80,
not going to
then
do the 80.
Trump will be able to do it again.
They're not going to do
and
the
he'll
80.
be better at
They're
it.
not going to do the 80.
They're not going to do the 80?
No, this is the last one. They figured
they'll all die.
that most of the people, the last of the people who.
Well, what are they now? They're mostly around 90 to 92.
They're getting in there, yeah. I mean, they're lucky they're alive. Well, number one, they were lucky they were alive and got through Normandy. But you know, you had a lot of people coming home and who were heroes and around for a long time. But it's starting to happen now that we're getting to the point where we have no more Holocaust survivors. You know,
Well, there's a few.
Well, we got my friend Jack, who, when he was in the concentration camps, I think got out when he was like 14 or 15.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
My
friend's dad.
He's 88 now, but adults who got out are all dead by now.
Yeah, my friend's dad got out. He was 16.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of children. Many of them were killed.
Yeah. So I mean, so whole generations of people who were part of something are no longer going to be there. I mean, yeah. And it's kind of sad because I don't think we learned any lessons from them. You know, as I said to Jack, I said, what do you think of the Trump thing? And he just said, it scares me. I said, why? He says, because it's all happening again. Oh, yeah, just scoff at a Holocaust survivor, Phil.
Well, hey, just because, his opinion of Trump, I don't think
no,
is correct.
he's not giving you his opinion.
Trump with Nazism.
You didn't listen to me. He didn't give his opinion of Trump. He said, I have seen this all before, and it scares me.
Well, there's a lot of anti-Semitism right now, and not only in our country, but especially in Europe. And it's not good. And when if that's what he's referring to, then he's right. There's a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism happening. And hey, in El Sobrante, California, which is near where I live, some guy put a Schwartz sticker in concrete
A
in his front lawn.
A Schwartz sticker?
Yeah,
A Schwartz sticker?
Well, you pronounce it properly.
Swastika.
All right, swastika.
No, you just said it again. A
I saw that in the news
swastika.
last night.
You know what a
El
swastika is?
Sobrante
It's these
is down
little
the
things you
street.
get in school when you're good. They give you a swastika.
Yeah.
Well, if you wash your hands.
Yeah, he said he was trying to match the pattern on his wrought iron.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the German guy that lived down the street didn't like it.
Yeah. He's full of shit.
Did they say how big the thing was? It looked from the
Oh,
picture-
it looked like it was at least 10 foot.
Wow.
What do you think
It was
about
huge. It took up his whole front lawn.
as long as
Yeah.
we're kind of on this topic? What do you guys think of the current trend on the part of like YouTube and Facebook
hate
and people like
speech
that
thing?
to do away with hate speech online in their what are called basically their open line forums, as it were? I mean, are you
I
comfortable
don't
or
think it's
uncomfortable
right.
with that? Huh?
I don't think it's right to, as much as I deplore hate speech,
Yeah.
I feel that it impinges on the First Amendment, and that if you don't want to listen to it, you don't have to.
Well, also, if it's hate speech, everybody has access to the same forum. And if you don't like the hate speech, you can then rail against it.
Yeah,
you know.
it's as much as I dislike Nazis and I dislike hate speech and anti-Semitism, I dislike the censorship of it even more.
Well, what happens is that Facebook and YouTube and people like that will say, "Oh, we're very much against censorship of the internet," and then they go ahead and do their own censorship of the internet. Now, I don't like any of that hate speech. I don't like the what's his name, that Alex
Crowder.
Jones and people like that, and the kind of shit they say. But I think in a democracy, they have the right to say it, as long as they're not being incendiary and as long as they're not creating incidences because of their speech. Okay. I think that it's wrong to give a sense of permission, which I think is what Trump is guilty of. Is he gives a sense of permission.
No, you're reading that into it, and so is the media.
Yeah, because everything I say, I'm reading into something.
Well, there's this guy,
Maybe it's
Steven
something
Crowder.
Phil. Maybe it's something I've observed, okay? And that by his actions as President of the United States, he is giving a sense of permission for people to act untoward other people.
That his statements and his what he says doesn't justify anyone else to act in another way.
Yes,
He's not
it does. Yes,
holding
it does.
their hands and saying you got to do this.
When he approved of the
and
Charlotte, when he approved of what the Charlottesville,
That's again.
the Nazis down there, I think that was giving the Nazis a sense of permission.
No, he actually physically said, I don't condone Nazis and Nazism. He said that there were
After
people
the fact,
on both
Phil.
sides
After the
of
fact.
this statue
After
thing.
the fact, Phil.
Doesn't matter. There were people on both sides of the statue thing, and there was good people on both sides. And
No, there
were.
weren't good people on both sides. Do you consider
the
the
Nazis.
Nazis? Do you consider the Nazis good people?
They weren't. The
Who
only
were the
faction.
people? Who was the?
You
Who,
can't-
wait a
you
minute.
can't
Who was the
equate-
main faction against tearing down those statues? Who was it, Phil?
Southern.
Who rallied people
Southerners.
together to come to Charlottesville to demonstrate? It was the American Nazi Party.
They were there too.
No, they weren't there too. They represented the other side.
Well, there's a part to revisionist history.
This isn't
that-
revisionist history, Phil.
Well, there were a number of people there that weren't Nazis, and
yes,
and
they were
sides of
marching.
every story.
They were marching against the statues. Don't you understand, Phil, that the major people there that were demonstrating against the demonstrators who wanted to take the statues down were all basically Nazi sympathizers.
The news has a good way
No,
of
forget
channeling
about
what you see.
Phil. You can excuse as much as you want to with all this fake news bullshit, but I'm sorry it doesn't wash in that
You're-
case because we have video of that.
Yeah, you have video of a picture of a street with a bunch of people with candles or whatever the hell it was, tiki torches.
Yeah, where do they go for their demonstrations? Home Depot? What is that with the tiki torches?
Yeah, well, it was a sale at Walmart, and I really think that there was more to the equation, and that their news media try to make an equivalency of Nazi
Quit blaming
and,
the news media, Phil. Stop
and the
it all.
supporters. Well, they're the ones that pick the stories that they show. If you can, it isn't fake news, but what it is it's selective news. So if you select stories that
So go over to
fit a certain
Fox. Go over
agenda.
to Fox. They select their news, okay?
well, hey, I understand. I can't believe anything.
Listen, listen. If you listen to me any amount of time on this show, I even said it last night, is that I'm not happy with MSNBC.
MSNBC.
I think that I'm getting tired of the same old story every day. I got to tell people, Trump isn't the only story. Okay, there's a lot happening in this world, and unfortunately, the news people aren't covering it. That's the problem.
But they cover what they select to cover, and so they can shape the story.
Well, I think you're judging why they do that, and I'm going to tell you the reason why they do it that you don't say. The reason they do it is they're looking to make a buck from advertising, and they want to get as many eyeballs watching their news network as possible at any given moment, so they can sell that advertising for a nice high price. And that's what's driving how they run the stories. If they felt that other stories would get them numbers, they would be doing those other stories, okay? But when you call yourself a news operation, you should feel that you're serving the people and trying to inform them of what's going on in the world. And there are a lot of stories in this world that are just not being covered.
Well, when you're on the freeway and you're driving and then somebody has an accident, even though there are plenty of lanes to get around, everybody slows down to look at the gore on the side of the road. And that's what we're being fed by the different news agencies, whether it's Fox or MSNBC. They're all guilty of they're opinion agencies. They're using news events rather than actually reporting the news.
Actually, I find, I was been watching CNN the last couple of days, and I'm much happier with CNN than I am with MSNBC.
That's not hard.
I think they're far more even-handed. They try not to be biased, but when you've got the president here, I want to find out how you feel about this. The other day, the president suggested that we all boycott AT&T because they own CNN.
I didn't hear that.
Well, he did. Take it from me. Am I right, Charlie? He said it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said boycott CNN, AT&T. Well, first of all, I don't know if we can boycott AT&T because in most cases we got a 2-year obligation to them.
Yeah.
That's for starters. Secondly, are you really trying to intimidate a organization like AT&T by getting people to boycott them because you don't like the way you're being reported? There's something very wrong with that.
Well, yes, I agree that you shouldn't try to influence the news or the reporting.
No, but you also shouldn't boycott. You shouldn't boycott the person that owns it. I'll tell you why you should boycott AT&T. They bought up a lot more than CNN. They bought up one of my favorite places right now to go, which is the DC channel, and they have a thing on the Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing had one episode out so far, and they've canceled it. Why? Because AT&T probably didn't want them to renew it because they have other ideas of what they want to do with that particular.
Isn't that the way it works in that business?
Well, you're going to see this happening a lot. You got to realize what is going to happen to CNN.
Consolidation.
What's going to happen to Turner Classic Movies as a result of the AT&T merger?
Well, whenever you have consolidation in an industry, you start homogenizing all the content. So, for instance, even in my industry, carpet, there used to be 300 mills. Now there's about 5, and there's only 3 major ones. Mm-hmm. And they all make the same thing. And if they have different brands, the brands are all the same thing with different names. And so the same thing, and because my industry suffered a lot of consolidation, so I think the same thing's happening in the content industry.
Well, but what's sad about it is that, for instance, like Turner Classic Movies, I love it. It's just the best. It's been non-commercial for years. They make their money by selling their service to the cable companies per subscriber, and also selling little books, and they're like a little cottage industry, and they've really they take care of themselves. They don't have to pay for the films they show because they own them.
Alex,
yeah,
the cable industry as we've known it is changing, and it may not even exist in a few more years.
What's it going to be replaced by, Phil?
Streaming.
What do you think
content.
it's going to be streamed on, Phil?
Well, there's the cable, and then there's cable networks.
Hey, wait a minute, Phil. All your internet providing is done by the cable companies, and so if you've got, I've got FiOS here, and if I go online, I'm using my high-speed internet, which is provided by essentially the cable company. So they're not going away. They may go away in providing the individual services like content. But
that's what I'm saying.
But then again, look who's buying up the content.
I understand, and it's called consolidation. But what you see, the cable that we know today, you go to Infinity and you press the button and you turn the channels. That's going to go away. Yeah,
but I can make it go away, but I still have my Ethernet, which is being supplied by them.
It's 2 different things.
No, it's not 2 different things, because then what I'll do is I will go to these various places and get my TV and pick and choose
That's
it,
the way it's
which is going to wind up, oddly enough, costing me more than it's costing now when it's bundled.
That's the way it's going to be. You're not going to have the Infinity or whatever the other brands are, AT&T, they all have the content.
Hey, FiOS will be around 20 years from now.
I'm not talking about the pipe that brings in the signal.
But that's everything. The pipe is everything. What that pipe sells you are entirely different. And what they'll also do is, if all of a sudden they're not making as much money off the cable services, well, hell, they'll just charge you more for the internet.
What I understand, but aren't they saying that people are cutting the cord? Now, they're not cutting the cord of the pipe that comes in with...
they think they're cutting the cord. What they're doing is they're simply saying, well, I don't want those services provided to me. I'll get them on my own. But I still need the internet, so keep that internet coming to me through your pipe.
But it's not coming... You see, you had said...
It's coming through the cable. It's coming through the cable.
Yeah, I know, but you said, look, the Turner movies were coming in and were paid for commercial-free because they were being paid for by the cable subscriber. Now, what I'm saying is that the cable subscriber for those kinds of services are going away, and eventually will completely be diminished.
TCM will start charging subscriptions.
Right, they need a new revenue stream.
Well, they already have. You haven't gone there, but TCM has a very lovely app that goes on both Roku and whatever.
Right.
By the way, I want to just take time to mention that if you haven't tried it already, Alex Bennett's Ramble is on a new outlet as of a few days ago. We are on iHeartRadio. You go to iHeartRadio.com, iHeartRadio.com, and we are our podcasts are being served by iHeartRadio.
So yours aren't on the Clear Channel?
There is no Clear Channel. iHeartRadio used to be Clear Channel.
I know.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really.
You got to go to Clear Channel to hear your show.
But anyway, so if you go to iHeartRadio.com and go to their podcast section, put in Alex Bennett's Ramble, there we are. There are a few shows there that don't work because I don't know how those shows are being served to them, but.
Do you have to subscribe to iHeartRadio? Is that how that works?
No, you can do it without subscribing, but
not a paid subscription.
But if you subscribe to it, it doesn't cost you anything. Well, there's the theme. And we managed to talk very little about.
I'll
Donald
see you
Trump
next week.
Maybe. Oh yeah. You're gone tomorrow. Okay, so that means Scott, you can call.
Here today.
And Tom, you can call. And everybody else you can call. It's called the Get a Word in Edgewise Friday show of...
Hey, I did, Jeff. I was pretty good
You
tonight.
were very good tonight. You were very good. I think everybody will agree. Right, Jeff?
Yep.
I agree.
And right, Charlie?
Yep.
And right, Kevin?
Yep. Go eat your meat.
Go eat your meat.
That's what I'm going to do.
As
long as I don't eat my meat.
Eat your meat, right.
Not eat it.
Hey, everybody, if you wave goodbye, I'll wave goodbye back. There weren't a lot of you, but boy, it was a good little show. So, see you later. Okay, there they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizens panel. Let me hang up on them. And let me get out of this, make myself invisible, kill the Skype, and that's it. Okay, that's all she wrote. We're back on tomorrow night. Next is a very good show. It's Jack Bishop and the Intersection. And then it will be followed by absolutely nothing but 24 hours of just all our shows being repeated over and over again ad nauseum. And then, if you want to listen to my show at any time, you can always go over to iHeartRadio and do that. Or you can go to Spotify. There are a lot of other places you can do it. In the meantime, I'll be back again tomorrow night after Damian Chaplin and the Exchange at 9:30 at 10 o'clock, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody.